We are live this evening with All American Racing League, and we're at the Super Speedway Talladega, the track that needs no introduction, and the drivers who need no introduction. The majority of these drivers here tonight looking to make an impact here, especially the playoff drivers. Anytime you're in the playoffs and you're at a track like Talladega, you're certainly looking for a little bit of luck, some things to go your way. Pit stops are going to be very, very important here tonight. Linking up with teammates and having a good rapport with the drivers in front of you, behind you, and next to you, whether they're your teammate or not. We appreciate you guys tuning in here tonight on what is going to be the final night of All-American Racing League here on Faded TV for the foreseeable future. And let me tell you something, this is where I got my broadcasting career started in iRacing, where these group of guys giving me a chance, a shot with no experience broadcasting these races, helping me out with the overlays, getting me situated, and now sending them off the best that I can here tonight. Now, it's not the final race for them for this season. So let's get into some points standings. As we take a look here. It's like Cameron Harris is in the lead in the second round of the playoffs with 2,002 points, tied with John Higgins Jr., David Hera, and David Lerfano, 2,000 apiece as well. So those are your top four drivers: Chad Snyder, Patrick Mcquaid on the outside of the final four. So keeping our eyes on Chad Snyder and Patrick Mcquaid. The team standings coming into tonight, of course, Hillbilly Motorsports on top with 233 points. I don't think that's a surprise there. Larry Garnes doesn't get the credit that he deserves. He's had a really good, consistent season for these guys, but it's the Davids on top. Of course, David Lerfano, David Hera. Lerfano coming in with a ton of wins. It seemed like David Hera, week in and week out, was in the interview booth at the end of these races, taking home podium after podium collectively as a team. There's been 6 poles with 5 wins for Hillbilly Motorsports. They're on top of the team standings. Dark Horse Motorsports, 212, tied with Assault Motorsports. Faded Motorsports coming in that 4th spot, 5th once that tiebreaker comes up there with 192 points. But hey, we had some part-time drivers and some no-shows. Really been anchored down by Charlie Dickey in the 37 Chevrolet. Certainly having himself a pretty good season. Missed the playoffs, but this was his first full season with All-American Racing League. I hope he sticks it out because he's got a ton of potential racing with these guys. Triple J Racing 160, JLC Motorsports 145, and Beer Brothers Racing down there at the bottom. But again, some part-time drivers there as well. So again, drivers to look out for. Oh, you know what? Excuse me for 1 second. I want to make sure I get these point standings correct for you. The graphic I'm looking at, a little confusing. Yes, okay, that was correct. So tonight here at Talladega is the kickoff of the second round of the playoffs. So that's what threw me off there a little bit. The points that I described to you a moment ago are correct. 1 minute, 45 seconds left in the practice session before qualifying. Of course, this is the Cutting Edge Forge 60 here at Talladega. A return race sponsor, Cutting Edge Forge. coming out of Wingate, North Carolina. Look up Cutting Edge Forge on Facebook. Shout out to those guys for returning. Shout out to Top Sale Trucking, of course, along for the ride. Late last season, it broke out. These guys were going to sponsor a full season. They have not disappointed. I know they have a lot of support and love for this league here. And even, here at Faded TV, we appreciate those guys. They have some kind words for us as well. So, Top Sale Trucking, this is the Truckers Feed America Series, All-American Racing League. I wish I had more information for you guys on where this is going after tonight, but I suppose you're going to have to follow either Hillbilly Motorsports, Assault Motorsports, All-American Racing League on Facebook. They'll have some announcements coming soon when they decide to give out that information. Now, of course, after tonight, these guys are going to be running at Phoenix next week. After that, that is going to be the last race of the second round of the playoffs, and that race is going to be at Martinsville, where it will go down from 6 drivers to 4. The championship race, December 28th, Nashville Super Speedway. So, wherever these races are going to be, you certainly don't want to miss them. Phoenix, Martinsville, Nashville Super Speedway. That's going to be a heck of a way to finish out this season. But of course, we're here tonight, Faded TV at the Super Speedway, Talladega. Let's take a ride with Tyrone Yo Jr. A little bit of Dukes of Hazzard. I know he's been toying around with the paint shop. Hey, he's a good old boy right there, ain't he? Right there, rocking that Dukes of Hazzard right there. Tyrone Yo Jr. racing with this Daisy Dukes tonight. I like the way he spells Trucker Feed America Series. Or is that on my end? I don't think so. I hope not. Truckers Feed America Sears. Sears. See what kind of lap times he's laying down. Of course, 5 minutes in this session. The best of 2 laps. Tyrone came off with came out with a really good start of the season. Has since then kind of fallen off a little bit as far as points and all that stuff. Let's go ahead and get rid of this in-game chat. We don't need to hear any of that. Like to give those drivers their privacy. You never know when an F-bomb's going to come out or anything like that. So we'll turn that off here for tonight. Let's go ahead and put up our NASCAR tower. Let's see these times live as they pop up on the left hand of the screen. That should be lap 1 for Tyrone there in the books, and it is a 51.90. Now, the interesting thing about Talladega is that start-finish line, you guys are going to notice, it's not in the center between turn 4 and 1. It's not the center of the front stretch, and that's really made for some really interesting finishes here at Talladega, because when you get out of turn 4, it is a drag race, to say the least. You have to make it about 3/4 of the way down the front stretch, and hopefully that brings us some entertainment here tonight as well. Kyle Martin in the 99 with a 51.78. John Higgins right up there with him, tied. Charlie Dickey, 0.03 behind him. Tyrone still holding on to that 4th. J-Hub with a 0.22 behind him. Patrick Mcquaid, one of those drivers that we talked about, one to keep your eye on there. He's currently below that cutoff line, I believe, by default. Now, Lerfano, Chad Snyder, a couple of these drivers, they're tied with 2,000 points apiece, which obviously that's going to change here tonight. But I'm just saying, moving forward, if they're still tied after these 3 races by default, by wins and poles, etc., some of those bonus points, if you will, is why by default I think Snyder and Mcquaid, even though they're tied, are below that cutoff line. Looks like 16 drivers making their way into tonight's session, including some part-timers like Braden Black, Kyle Martin in here tonight. Everybody else pretty much been racing here all season long, week in and week out. Nathan Christensen here in the Toyota. Yeah, see, it was Tyrone Yo. That spelling's correct. Truckers Feed America Series, not Sears. And there's the 77, Patrick Mcquaid with a 51.77. That's what he needs to do this round. Him and Chad Snyder, they need some finishes here. They do not want this to go down to those bonus points. They don't want to be tied with any of these drivers after these next 3 races. And Patrick Mcquaid setting himself up in the best position possible to start this race. Sitting pole. Looks like Larry Garnes up there in that second spot. Okay. All right. Adam Angerstein tied that time with Larry Garnes, 51.78. He'll be on the inside of row number 2. Alongside Kyle Martin there in 4th, David Lerfano, John Higgins sharing row 3. Nathan Christensen, Chad Snyder, he's the other driver. Keep your eye on there. Him and Mcquaid. Charlie Dickey 9th, Jeremy Flanagan in 10th. J-Hub, Jim Hubble, friend of the booth here. He's done some races for Faded TV. Does fantastic with it. Tyrone Yo Jr. sitting in 12th. Behind those guys, it's Johnny May in the 69, Cameron Harris in the 27 on the outside of row 7, David Hara and Braden Black running 15th and 16th. So now this is one of those tracks where you don't really need to start up front, especially we're going to have 100 laps here. David Hara maybe intentionally with a little bit of a sandbag in the quali, starting all the way into the back. Now that's a double-edged sword there. You try to start in the back, stay out of trouble. Unfortunately, though, you get caught real easy in the back there.
Yes, sir. We gotta go to our channel.
As he reminds him to go to his channel, that reminds us we didn't properly turn off that chat there, so now it is. And there is the grid. There's the man, the pole sitter, Patrick Mcquaid in the 77. Surprising Larry Garnes up there in the top row. No disrespect, of course, but just a driver that doesn't really qualify that well here in the series, but really bringing it here tonight. So shout out to Larry Garnes up there on the front row for, I think, the first time here this season. So there is the time, 2 hours and 22 minutes for these drivers to get 60 laps done here at Talladega. Hopefully, we won't even touch that 2-hour mark. Now, we probably will have some cautions. A couple, maybe a few. These guys going to be racing bumper to bumper at over 200 miles an hour. You see Kyle Martin there on the outside of Adam Angerstein. Both those drivers with some of the best qualification they've had here so far in the season. John Higgins Jr. 5th, and there Lerfano sits in 6th. David Hara, he's going to have to try to make his way up through the field as quick as possible to be able to catch David Lerfano there, his teammate. Of course, throughout the season and a little bit throughout these playoffs, but those guys going head-to-head here for the championship as well. David Lerfano being able to best David Hara for the most part throughout the regular season. It seemed like every time David Hara was setting himself up for a victory, here came his teammate in the 8 car, passing him on the last lap, on the last turn. And I know as much respect as those two drivers had, and Hara happy for his teammate and, happy to take second. That ends. There's no more, hey, I'm glad he got the win and I'm second fiddle. David Hara certainly fighting for this championship here tonight. Pace truck off. The green lights are going to go to the 77 of Mcquaid and the 20 of Larry Garnes as they come down this long front stretch here at Talladega that we talked about. Making your way 3/4 essentially down the front stretch before you hit that start-finish line. Drivers evenly paced out there, and here we go. Green flag racing, the 77 of Mcquaid on the inside. You see, we're already getting some drivers to shuffle down a little bit. I think that's Lerfano. Yep, it was. And you see the green spoiler on some of these drivers. If you notice that, that means they're in the playoffs. And right now we see that on the leader of the race right now, Patrick Mcquaid, getting pushed by Adam Angerstein. Top 5 drivers, single file right now in the early going back all the way to Lerfano, Christensen, Chad Snyder, running a special paint scheme tonight. Much love, brother. Much respect. Appreciate you right there. Charlie Dickey behind him, the new paint scheme of his own. Jeremy Flanagan, J-Hub, Larry Garnes, pretty much everybody. John Higgins Jr. so far, I hate to say a biggest mover of the night. We're here on lap 2, but so far picking up 3 spots. He's sitting there in 3rd. So that 19 car certainly... Oh, and he got to the inside of Angerstein and had him back up onto the track. And that's going to bring out our caution there. Our first caution of the night. And that's dangerous. We're going to see that here a few times tonight. Cars not really being able to draft that well. That's what we saw there with John Higgins. Just not being able to lift off, not having that discipline to back off the throttle a little bit. I mean, you're already up 3 spots. Got on the inside of Adam Angerstein right there and just wasn't able to lift. Got on the back bumper. Let's go ahead and take a look at what happened after that, though. You see the damage on Angerstein. His back bumper's missing. So there's the 19 car getting right in the back. Now, that could have been really bad. Fortunately for Angerstein and everybody else, well, maybe not for Adam there, but fortunately for the rest of the drivers, he actually slid down the track rather than up the track into the field. So they check it up high and go around him. Unfortunately, him sliding all the way down to that interior wall. That's going to be a pit stop for him, and that is going to be one of his fast repairs here in the early going. So not good if you're that 9 car Adam Angerstein, and quite frankly, probably a little frustrated in that 9 Chevrolet there. That was pretty uncalled for there this early on into the race. And just like that, we're going to line these guys back up. See if Angerstein's out of pit road yet. Yes, he is. No, he hasn't gone down yet. Okay. First chance he get, though, of course, he will go down there. Now, we're going to see some early pit stops out of these drivers. You might be thinking, well, hey, we're only on lap 3 here. Why is everybody coming down pit road? This is for fuel. Just to go that extra distance if we do go green for a long extended of time here. This is going to make a big difference. I know it doesn't seem like it will, but just trust me. There's that awesome paint job. Thank you, Faded TV. Chad Snyder. That's just so cool. That's awesome. Now, hey, nonetheless, you don't got to like it. You don't got to agree with it. John Higgins Jr. up 4 total spots now. He's going to be up to second. With those pit stops, drivers like Charlie Dickey going to find themselves up 5 spots. He's up to 4th. Jim Hubble up 6, along with Tyrone Yo Jr. They're running 5th and 6th. David Lerfano is going to drop back 2 spots. He's in 7th. Chad Snyder still hanging around in 8th. That's where he started. Jeremy Flanagan up a spot to 9th. Now, the big losers, obviously because of coming down pit road, Larry Garnes, who started P2, he's going to fall all the way back down to 10th. Nathan Christensen in 12th. And, of course, Adam Angerstein involved in that caution. He's going to drop 10 spots. He started 3rd. He's going to be 13th. Cameron Harris, I believe, still down pit road. A little bit of a longer pit stop here. Not too sure. Hopefully everything's okay with the 27 Toyota of Cameron Harris. Of course, you see him rocking the Project Dynamic paint scheme. And in fact, shout out to Louis Clark. We know he's probably doing something. He might be sleeping by now. I don't know what time it is where he lives, but he's all the way across the ocean somewhere. But shout out to Louis Clark, one of the drivers for Project Dynamic as well, and getting some of these oval guys involved with that team, who's known mostly for endurance racing, getting involved a little bit with the asphalt ovals as well. And not a bad pickup. Caden Tufts also rocking the Project Dynamic. He's not here tonight. He's been working on some GT3 racing. Did his first endurance race just a couple of weeks ago. So Louis Clark certainly knowing how to pick them. From what I've seen briefly, Cameron Harris has been a menace in the truck series. It's been a while since I poked my head over in that Discord to see where the points was at for that. But I know every time I did, I saw Cameron Harris up there in the point standings. And we've talked about it a few times here this season about the drivers that have really been able to pick up these next-gen cars. Cameron Harris most certainly being one of them. Now, this should be next time, or this time by Green Flag Racing. The 77, no stranger, still up there in that top spot. John Higgins Jr. on the outside. Cal Martin in 3rd, Charlie Dickey 4th, and J-Hub there in 5th. And unfortunately, Adam Angerstein after that, as we said, going to be starting 13th. We'll see if those drivers reunite here at any part of the race, and if they do, will there be a little bit of bad blood, or will Adam say, hey, you know what, it was early in the race, maybe the nerves got the best of 19, if mistakes happen, will he let it go or not? For entertainment's sake, I hope there is bad blood. I hope these guys duke it out all night long. But for caution's sake, hopefully he just lets it go and we see some clean racing here. But of course, not a lot of intel, not a lot of info for these next gen cars for iRacing to work with. And when you get to these super speedways, how will these cars draft? How will the aerodynamics mix? How is the side drafting going to work? And at least for the moment here, for about 55 more laps, we'll see. We should go green here. The field is a little wonky up here. You see John Higgins Jr., Charlie Dickey behind him. John, though, giving plenty of room to the 77 of Patrick Mcquaid. He's going to check down low. We should see Martin get in line as well. Yep, so those 3 drivers. There you see Charlie Dickey in 4th. Only a couple of cars on that high side right now. That's Tyrone Yo Jr. back in 8th, who's kind of hanging around high side there. I think just seeing what the track would give him, and now he's ducked down low. He's going to have to find the draft from the 16 car of Nathan Christensen. And 7 on his car, 16 up here in the booth, so that's what we're saying. Tyrone with a little bit of internet issues as he moves one time coming down the front stretch. That's all it is, so that's not going to impact him nor the drivers next to him. We got this little bunch right here. Tyrone Yo Jr., Christensen, Barnes involved in this as well. They got Jeremy Flanagan, David Heron, Adam Angerstein behind them. And these guys are really going lap 7, already starting to lose that lead pack. These guys are really going to have to work together, make sure that they don't lose it too much. You see some drivers on the high side there, I believe. That's Johnny May in the 69. He takes it back down low. Trying to fall in line there. If you're part of this back group right here, you'd love to just see some single file drafting, trying to catch the tail end of that first group. I thought that's what we were going to do. Larry Garnes goes up high. 2 more drivers following suit. The 11 of Jeremy Flanagan, and I believe the 15 of David Heron. Now the 69 of Johnny May. He's going to take it up high as well. So we got a 4-car draft on the outside. And they make it stick. Once the clear is made, they're going to drop it down low. There it is. Johnny May cutting it a little close there. You hate to see that, but he made it work right in front of Tyrone Yo Jr. That's some sketchy business right there coming out of the 69. Nothing changed up front. We'll make our way there in a moment. I want to keep this action here. Patrick Mcquaid still your leader. Higgins still second, Martin third, Charlie Dickey fourth. So nothing changing here in the top 5. Back up front here, John looking a little bit low there. See if he can get a run on the 77. I don't think so. We talked about some of these drivers that are up here, like Kyle Martin in third, does really well at the beginning of these races. He's usually a pretty decent qualifier. He's had some bad laps here and there, but usually a consistent qualifier in the beginning of these races. Especially on the short runs, he's an absolute terror. But I think he's still trying to figure out his long run game and really just trying to put together a full race. Once the 99 can do that, I think Kyle Martin's going to be a heck of a racer here on iRacing platform. He's just got to fine tune some things, learn some patience. And right now, that's what he's doing, though. Maintaining Q3 right now, right there in front of his teammate Charlie Dickey. Right now, lap 11, we're just single file right now. And you see that second pack that we once had, once they got single file there, they've been able to catch this front pack. We'll see if we can get some 2x2 action. Or if we're just going to stay single file here. Once again, haven't called too many races with these next gens on the super speedways, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Hopefully, we're not just sitting single file until a caution comes or green flag pit stops happen. Hopefully, we get some high side action going as well. Right now, everybody, getting in a groove right now. That's what you need to do. For any of these drivers, find your groove, get comfortable. You had that early caution, been green flag ever since. The best statement you can make early in a race is no statement at all. Have some patience, chill out, find that groove, get comfortable with yourself, get comfortable in your seat. You see Kyle Martin now blinking. He's having some connection issues. Hopefully that goes away. for the sake of him and for Charlie Dickey. Nearly impossible to draft behind somebody who's constantly blinking in front of you. So hopefully the 99 gets that figured out. Run 77 of Mcquaid early on into this race, took pole. He's led every lap so far. Doesn't look like the 19 of Higgins can really get a run on him just yet. Of course, the super speedways here, they're a little tricky when it comes to that. Even if John Higgins were to get a run right now and try to make a pass on the outside of the 77, certainly needs the 99 of Kyle Martin to go with him, because if he doesn't, he's going to get stuck on the outside. Now you see these top three drivers starting to pull away now from that fourth place driver, Charlie Dickey, and on back. Right now, Mcquaid, Higgins, Martin, best thing they can do is just stay content, stay single file. There's no need to try to go for that push right now on the outside. If you do make a move, you're going to want to make sure you got somebody behind you willing to take that risk with you as well, or else you're just going to get stuck on the high side and everybody's going to come down low and pass you up. And there's nothing more frustrating in racing than getting passed. The only thing more frustrating is getting passed by multiple drivers. So I think we'll see the 19, unless if he just gets a monster run down one of these stretches here. Maybe off the corner exit, feels like he can make a run. Maybe we'll see it. But right now, we're just kind of waiting, seeing if we can break up this single file. We're starting to see that second pack once again start to drift away, like what we saw a handful of laps ago. And I'm not too sure what is causing that right now. If one driver in here is just not wanting to get super close to the car in front of him in the draft, and little by little, lap by lap, you start to lose it a little bit. Right now on the 26 of Chad Snyder, he's got a nice little bubble between him and Jay Humble, and really starting to lose some time. So these guys are going to have to work back together like they did the first time, try to catch the tail end of Jim Humble. It looks like we've seen that right now onto the backstretch down into turn 3, but we'd certainly like to see these cars a little bit more bunched up and maybe somebody trying to make a run on that high side. The 8 of David Lerfano back there in 7th. He's got teammate Larry Garnes to work with for now. Waiting for that 15 of David Hara to catch back up, have all three of Hillbilly Motorsports running together would be ideal for them. And Chad Snyder, when he looks back in his rear view, he sees that Lucky Dog Detailing logo. He knows he's in a good spot. He doesn't have to worry about the driver behind him coming up too high in the draft and not knowing what to do with it. He feels safe with David Lerfano behind him. So right now, he's just got to worry about what's in his front windshield here and try to track down Jim Humble. And right now, we see the 15 of David Hara. It looks like he's on the outside. I'm not sure if he thought he had a run on somebody and got stuck on the outside like we talked about. He's got to be careful here. He's got to swing back down low, try to catch the tail of Tyrone here and stay in the draft, or that's going to be trouble for the 15. However, maybe he wasn't feeling it. He wanted to be back there a little bit, so he gives up a couple of spots. You lose track position, but you gain security, if that makes sense. And he was indeed able to catch Tyrone. Caught a little bit too much of a draft down the backstretch. Decided to check it up high. appreciate all the love, guys. It'll be tough stepping away for a little bit, but, you know, it's not forever. It's just for now. And, well, I'm sure we'll link back up with these guys in 2022. We can get some things going how I want them to go. We'll make a return back here on Tuesday nights. I know Mountain Man Dan, he's been faithful here in these streams, All-American Racing League, pretty much each and every week. Tomato, you know what I mean? Certainly appreciate all the loyalists, my wife, and all the broadcasts. Tomato! Hey man, I'll rock with that. I can dig it. I can also dig this too wide action. You see Kyle Martin finally said enough is enough. He decides to take the high side. He does have one car with him. So we got a 2-car draft versus a 3-car draft. Let's see how it plays out right now. You see Jim Hubble into the mix now. He's in 3rd, and it looks like Kyle lost his drafting partner of Charlie Dickey. He decides to go back down low, and so does the 99 of Kyle Martin. So bad news is, didn't work out. The good news is he only gave up a spot, so that's not that big of a deal. Trying to get things going here on lap 21. And honestly, I don't blame him. It looks like right now in this package, there's not a whole lot going on. Everybody's single file. You see David Harris way back there. This is bad news if you're the 15. Talladega being a very, very big track and not being able to keep the draft with Tyrone Yo Jr. This is bad. Now, obviously, there's probably going to be another caution here. It's still early on in the race, but you certainly don't want to be in this position if you're the 15 of David Hara. Even if we don't go, that's best case scenario is we get a caution. He's able to catch back up. Worst case scenario, this guy's just going to get lost out here. I don't know what the fuel is. I don't know what the pit window is going to be for these guys, but he's certainly going to have to bank on some good pit strategy. And honestly, probably some not so good pit strategy from some of these other drivers. But right now, David Hara fading from the pack up front. It's still Mcquaid, John Higgins Jr., Jim Hubble, Kyle Martin, and Charlie Dickey running in the top 5. Outside of that, all by him lonesome is the 26 of Chad Snyder. He's going to need Jeremy Flanagan and Adam Angerstein to get caught back up to his back bumper to get a push up to the top 5. But as you see, those 2 cars, nice little space between themselves and Nate Christensen. So right now, we have the top 5 running together. Or really the top 5, and then Chad all by himself. Then we got a couple of groups here that are just 2 cars. So we're starting to spread out a little bit. And there we go. There we go. Jim Hub now decides to go up high. You knew Kyle Martin was going to follow him up there. He's got the 37 of Charlie Dickey on the tail end of that as well. And we got a new leader here at Talladega as Jim Hub. Somebody finally making the high side work. J-Hub probably going to check it down low. Kyle wants to stay up high. He wants his teammate Charlie Dickey to give him a push to the lead. And I don't think it's going to happen. If Kyle's smart, he's going to dip down low now into turn 1 to be able to block the 77. And there he goes, out of turn 2 onto the backstretch. That's exactly what he does. What will he do with this run? Already coming up on a lap car here. Not too sure who that is. That's Cameron Harris. Remember, he had that bad pit stop. I think he struggled to kind of catch the pack before they went green. He's going to stay up high, give these guys plenty of room down low. As Jim Hubble, your new leader here at Talladega, you know the 99 of Kyle Martin is just itching to lead a lap here. He's gone high a few times. It hasn't worked out for him, but it did that time from 4th to 2nd. The 99 behind him Patrick Mcquaid still third, still getting the push from the 19 of John Higgins Jr. Now, Charlie Dickey, unfortunately, he was up high with Kyle and J-Hub. There was a couple of car lengths between them. He really wasn't able to take advantage of the draft and the momentum that was up on that high side. Not only does he have to check it down low, he's starting to fall off just a little bit. Is the 37 of Dickey. Lap 25 of 60, approaching the midway point. These drivers, this is what we talked about when they came down pit road on just lap 3 under the caution. It was to extend this long green flag run as long as they possibly could. They came down, they got fuel, get them over that halfway point, and see if they could turn this race into really what would be just a one more pit stop kind of race. There's Kyle Martin on the outside, but unfortunately, he's going to be greeted with nobody following him. This is bad news for the 99 car. He's going to fall back from second to fourth, but he does link up with his teammate, Charlie Dickey. That could be some comms going there. Kyle might have done that on purpose. Charlie might have been reaching out to him. Hey, I'm losing this draft, man. Fall back a little bit. At least give me that one car length. And let me catch you on the tail end of this. That's exactly what those teammates have done right now. And there you go. You see the link right now. All 5 drivers pretty much within arm's length of each other, all being led by the 51 of J-Hub. Guys really starting to take off. If we go back to 6th right here, that's Chad Snyder leading Flanagan and Angerstein. This is that second group, and these guys are just a mile off pace right now. And it's really just a dominant run from these guys up front right now. I mean, these guys are still drafting with one another. They could probably tighten it up a little bit, but they're not too spaced out. They're drafting just fine. I think it's just the top 5 right now. They're so in sync with one another. You see how closer this is compared to, wow, now they've bunched up a little bit now. But before I was trying to prove this point, those 5 cars up front were much tighter in the draft. And these 5 cars back here, 6th through 10th. Jr. on the tail of that. Lerfano dropping back all the way to 11th. We got a 3-car draft here. Now, those are teammates from HBS. David Lerfano, Larry Garnes, David Hara. They're working together now to try to catch the rest of the field. And a little bit of a saving grace, I think, for David Hara. Remember, he was way off base with that. He's fortunate enough to have teammates in this race that are generous enough to fall back a little bit, be able to help the 15 get caught back up. So these guys, they're not racing one another. They're not worried about passing or track position right now. They're worried about linking up bumper to bumper and getting caught back up to that 10th spot, Tyrone Yo Jr. After that, they still got another hill to climb. They got to catch that first group of 5, and here we go. Looks like we're coming down pit road. Green flag pit stops. That's going to turn the lead over to Chad Snyder. He leads a lap here at Talladega, and this is where it could get interesting. Everybody going to have to be on point with these green flag pit stops, especially midway through the race here. Teammates are going to be coming down together. Looks like Hillbilly Motorsports, all 3 of those drivers deciding to stay out, and right now we have Chad Snyder, Jeremy Flanagan, Angerstein, running in the top 4. Of course, it won't be long till these guys have to come down pit road. Looks like Chad might be thinking about coming down right now. No. Okay. He was getting pretty low on that yellow line. I thought maybe he was going to come down, and it looked like if he did, it did look like the 11 of Flanagan was going to come down with him as well. So I think if Chad does decide to pit, he's going to have some drivers to come down with him. That's the thing. Teammate or not, you certainly don't want to come down pit road and exit pit road by yourself. That is going to be a race killer here at Talladega. So it's all about finding that partner here on these super speedways to be able to make decisions like that. Cameron Harris, not the night that he wanted here. He's a couple of laps down. Just unfortunate for him. He's usually a strong player here in these next gens, and it looks like, it sounds like, we have an incident on the track, and I believe that's the 19 of John Higgins Jr., who's been running second here all night long. Uh-oh. Let's go ahead and take a look. iRacing Rewind, what just happened here? Whoa! Not what you want to see out of Higgins Jr. I'm not too sure. Maybe he just downshifted too quickly there. Oh, we have more trouble. Jeremy Flanagan goes off track. Oh, he got hit by Cameron Harris. Yeah, you know, that's tough right there because I think what I was just talking about, if Snyder come down pit road, the 11 was all for it. He was going to follow Snyder down pit road, but unfortunately, must have just been some miscommunication from the 11. He tried to slow it down. You see Hillbilly Motorsports now coming down pit road. And, unified, these three drivers, this is their plan. This is how they're going to get back into this race, is by working together. But it's going to take all three of these drivers. But yeah, the 11 car, undecided if he wanted to come down pit road or not. He saw Chad was committed to it. He tried slowing down. The problem is he tried slowing down on the track, and Cameron Harris, for whatever reason, not picking up on the disparity in speed, and just runs right into the back of him. So here we go. J-Hub, the 99 of Kyle Martin. You saw him just make the pass on the boys coming out of pit road. They're going to take over this race once more. It's the 51, the 99. Charlie Dickey now up to that third spot, drafting with teammate Kyle Martin. And in that fourth spot, the 77 of Patrick Mcquaid. Now, these guys pretty much been linked up this entire race. In the beginning, it was the 77 up front leading these guys, but it's been Dickey, Martin, J-Hub, Mcquaid. The only car we're missing is John Higgins Jr., who unfortunately took a dive a few laps ago. Unfortunately, though, you see the effect that had. The 11 car now, who once was respectively sitting, I believe, in 7th. He was behind Chad Snyder. He's going to get lapped. So we got a lot of drivers now that are going to be a lap down or more. Braden Black out of the race. I think he might be doing race control for these guys tonight. Just 25 laps to go. This has pretty much been caution-free, except for that little mishap between the 19. Jim Hubble, though, looking for, I think, his first win here at All-American Racing League. Anything can change here in Talladega, and with the laps winding down, you have to think or assume that some of these drivers are really going to take a stab here. The 99 and the 37, I think here within the next 10 laps or so, they're really going to try to make a push on the high side. We'll see if the 77 of Mcquaid goes up high with them, or if he tries to stay tucked in and grab a couple of spots and get out of the back over Jim Hubble. The way back to 11th right now. This is Tyrone Joe Jr. He's kind of a lame duck all by himself right now. He's a good 20 seconds behind 10th place driver Chad Snyder. So those green flag pit stops really affecting a lot of these drivers. And I think, is that damage on the front of Chad Snyder? I think he's a little banged up now too. And that's not what you need here at Super Speedway as well. I mean, if you're tucked up on somebody's back bumper and you're drafting, maybe your aero, isn't affected that much. But now that he's out here by himself, he's got that front end damage. That's going to be crucial to the 26 of Chad Snyder. And he's definitely in a bad spot here with just 21 laps to go. He's still on lead lap. He can still walk away with the top 10. But right now, when you're one of these top 6 playoff drivers trying to fight for that top 4, there's no moral victories. There's no sitting back and saying, I got a top 10, that's fine. Mcquaid, Hera, Lerfano, all ahead of you right now in the point standings. And all ahead of you right now here at Talladega. So that's bad news for the 26 team. And, you think, do you come down? Do you try to risk? I mean, 20 laps to go. You're so far off pace. If you come down and use your quick repair, you're probably still going to go a lap down. But if there is a late race caution, you get the lucky dog. And you really have to bank on that, because right now with this much damage, he's continuing to lose time. He's certainly not going to catch anything at the rate that he's going. So I think I would risk coming down, using my fast repair, banking on being able to beat Tyrone Yo for that lucky dog. There will be a late race caution. I believe so anyways. I think that's the risk that you have to take. Once that caution's out, you're back on the lead lap. You have no more damage, and you can make a play at the win of this race. Speaking of making a play, so far, no play being made by the 99 of Kyle Martin. He's still back behind race leader Jim Hubble. Still has his teammate there, though, in the 37. Don't know what kind of comms these guys are having, or if they're laying out a formula, a game plan on when they're going to attack this 51 car, if this next-gen package is going to allow them to really do anything. So far here tonight, we haven't really been able to see much challenges on the outside for positions. There's just that little bubble there between the draft. I mean, so many other cars. I mean, if you take the ARCA car, for example, Talladega, I mean, you can draft so close. I mean, you don't want to bump draft with the ARCAs. They're so sensitive. I mean, it would really take two cars in sync 100% to be able to do that consistently. But the point is, you get so close in these ARCAs, you can get a good run on the outside if you have the help. Same with the Xfinity Series and the trucks. These next gens we're seeing really doesn't allow for that kind of racing right now. And it's just unfortunate. They're fun to race. I mean, I've been in them, you know. I've enjoyed this last week, or last week at Auto Club. I haven't even been able to see what the new schedule is, but they're a fun car to drive when you're out there on the track. But they're, as we see here at Talladega, it's just hard to make a pass. And unfortunately, see, there's the 26 now of Snyder. It was inevitable. He's going to get lapped here. He's going to go a lap down. Now, I suppose on the flip side of my 3-minute theory of what Chad Snyder should have done, I mean, if you go a lap down anyways like he just did, you're still able to keep that lap on Tyrone Yo. Then if there's a late race caution, you're in the same situation anyway. So maybe that's what he's banking on. But Tyrone actually using the draft of the 77 of Patrick Mcquaid to be able to pass Chad Snyder. So right now, it would be Tyrone in that general lead that has the lucky dog. So that's pretty big there. And David Hara in the 15, along with Nate Christensen, has been able to catch this front pack here. No proving you wrong there. These, we'll see how these cars handle IRL. Of course, they're doing testing vigorously. They tested. Big tracks, they've tested road courses. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, they did some testing on some short tracks already. But we'll see how these play out in 2022. Right now, the 15 trying to get around the 2 of Tyrone. Will anybody go with him right now? He's looking for somebody in front of him to check it up high. Will the 77 of Mcquaid see the 15 with the run and decide to take his chances? Or will David Hara get left up there to dry? He's waiting for Christensen to go up high there with him. He's got a run here. He needs some help. He needs some milk. And this is phenomenal right now by David Hara. All by himself. Trying to side draft now off Tyrone Yo for what it's worth. And here comes his teammates, David Lerfano, Larry Garnes on the high side, trying to catch their teammate, David Hara. You see Tyrone now checking up high. He gets behind David Hara. And David drops down low. So now he's on the bottom with the 77 of Patrick Mcquaid. We'll see if once his teammates make it up there, Tyrone might make things difficult here. Unless he's able to keep pace. But if they can get around Tyrone and work that outside, we'll see David Hara check it up high. Now here comes Tyrone. David Lerfano, Larry Garnes behind him. And David, he's got to make a decision now with just 13 laps to go. His teammates communicating with him. What do these guys have planned right now? It looks like David right now content on that yellow stripe. Tyrone still on the outside, so is David's teammates. When will he decide to go up high? Looked like he thought about it then, decides to come back down. And it looks like that's all the momentum the high side's going to get. Of course, there's only 3 cars up there right now, trying to catch a 4-car draft on the inside. Tyrone really not being able to get the push. They're actually going to fall back a little bit. So Lerfano and Garnes, they're going to have to come back down low, try to make their way around on the inside of Tyrone Yo Jr. and see if they can't try that high side once more. Now, in theory, you'd really like Adam Engelstein and Nathan Christensen to get a run too, and Adam shakes it up high a little bit. Lerfano all the way up onto the high side, almost hitting the wall, and Adam does it again. Adam, you got to keep it straight, my man. Hold your line, man. Holy Moses. So that pretty much throws off all the momentum that David Lerfano had for the moment. He's back up there going to try it again. Larry Garnes, his teammate, back up there with him, right on his bumper, trying to give Lerfano a push, trying to catch their teammate in the 15. He's still on the low side, of course, but he's going to have to stay patient and allow the 8 and the 5 and the 20 to really work this high side. Tyrone Yo now up there as well, trying to give these guys a push to the front. And there is the 15. Does all right. They're in position. They're close enough. Let's take it up high. And here come Hillbilly Motorsports, who at one point were so far off the pace. You see Martin with teammate Charlie Dickey also taking up to the side. J-Hub. And Kyle's going to use the 19 as a pick. That's John Higgins Jr. That's a lap car down. They almost touched. They make contact. Looks like Kyle almost got a little bit loose there. But Kyle trying to use the 19 as a pick. J-Hub just needs to stay in that low line and push the 19. He doesn't need to panic here and go to the high side just because that's where he's getting passed. Because right now, you see now, there's too much space between him and John Higgins Jr., and you see the 2 up front now, Kyle Martin and Charlie Dickey. That got a little bit scrappy for them as well. So Martin doing a really, really good job. Waited until they caught the back end of John Higgins Jr., used him as a pick, and got around the leader. But this is what we talked about. J-Hub, no need to panic. Grind the back bumper of John Higgins Jr. Make that inside line work. And with just single digits left to go, this is what we've been waiting for. We're too wide here at Talladega, coming down the front stretch. 8 more laps to go. The high side really coming to fruition now. You see Charlie Dickey struggling to keep it straight out of the back bumper of his teammate Kyle Martin. He figures it out. They both drop down low. That's going to open up the door for the Hillbilly Motorsports guys. David Hara leading that bunch. David Lerfano, Larry Garnes behind him. So we got 3 cars up high, trying to make a run on Kyle Martin and Charlie Dickey. Can they get it done? They'd like to see another car behind them to push. And now we see a little bit of action. Almost 3 wide there. Yes, we are. Patrick Mcquaid. He's going to get shoved down, I think, by Larry Garnes. He's able to save it. He was actually all the way below the yellow line as far as his driver side tires go. A really good save from Patrick Mcquaid. Unfortunately, though, he's going to lose a ton of momentum. He's going to drop back to 7th, and that's also going to lose the momentum of the high side draft. Larry Garnes having to pull back a little bit. You see him now about 4 car lengths behind his teammate. That's going to obliterate that high side that David Hara and David Lerfano have worked on in the last 10 laps or so. And we see Kyle Martin now comfortably in the lead. He's not getting challenged on the high side, regardless of that move by, not too sure who that was, Adam Angerstein, I think. Yep, so it was. And Charlie Dickey now falling off a little bit from his teammate Kyle Martin. Martin wisely checks up high. He knew that's where the momentum would be. Tries to throw a block on Adam Angerstein. Angerstein would not be denied. He comes back down low, and he is now leading here at Talladega. Martin, though, he's got the 15 of Hara, Lerfano as well. What's he going to do? He decides for now to check it down low in front of Adam Angerstein, trying to defend both lines. Is the 99 of Kyle Martin. And here they come after the 99 down the backstretch. We got some lap traffic coming up. That's not going to be too big of a concern here, but what they can do, depending on where that driver's going to be, hopefully if you're Kyle Martin, you're hoping he's going to be on the high side. If you're David Hara, David Lerfano, you hope for whatever reason, it's not going to happen, that he would decide to go low and be able to use this car as a pick. So right now, Kyle Martin needs to get to this lap car as fast as he can to be able to use this car as a pick, to be able to slow down that high side just enough to be able to build some more space. You see Patrick Mcquaid now, Nathan Christensen up on that high side behind the HBS guys. And that's Johnny Nathan from LeBron. Where does his allegiance lie in this race? See Johnny May sticking it down low there. You might see Kyle just try to go onto the outside and swoop around him. Yep, that's what he's going to do. That was a good move from Kyle. That shouldn't. Well, now he's going to have to figure out what the 9's going to do. The 9 drops back down low. That's the best news if you're Kyle Martin. David Hara going to fall down in line. 4 laps to go here down the backstretch here at Talladega, the Truckers Speed America Series. The first race in the second round of the playoffs, the round of 6. And that got a little sketchy. The 11 car of Jeremy Flanagan almost got caught up there. He decides to ultimately go up high towards the wall, but that got closer than Kyle Martin would have liked for his comfort. Down the front stretch here, 3 laps to go. Single file through the top 5. And it looks like, unfortunately, Jim Hubbell's going to have to come down pit road. He wasn't going to be able to make it on fuel. That's J-Hub's race. Once a race leader here at Talladega. Unfortunately, not going to be able, at the end, to make it. You see Chad Snyder hugging the wall there. Had some front end damage, lost the draft. Now he's 2 laps down. And who's going to make the move? You see Kyle Martin now. He's got to come down pit road. He's braking. He's into the grass. And you have to assume a speeding penalty for Kyle Martin is almost certain. And with just 2 laps to go, that's our second driver now down pit road, not going to be able to make it on fuel. Hopefully that's not a speeding penalty. Patrick Mcquaid down here as well. So we have a handful of drivers now. This could play key. This could be why Lerfano and Hara were so far back. Were they saving fuel? Can they go the distance? Can Adam Angerstein go the distance? Will the 9 car have to come down pit road? Here comes the 15 of David Hara on the outside of Adam Angerstein. And it's almost like these guys drew it up. Back there saving fuel, minding their own business, working together with the draft. And it is the final lap for the 15 of David Hara. He's got his teammate David Lerfano and Larry Garnes behind him, pushing him around the super speedway in what has been a phenomenal turn of events here. Hillbilly Motorsports saving fuel about midway through the race after that green flag pit stop on lap 30. It seemed like they were miles and miles off the top 5 drivers, and it was all a plan to finish 1, 2, 3 here at Talladega. The 15 car of David Hara going to pick up his second overall win here at All-American Racing League. It's the 15. David Lerfano second, teammate Larry Garnes third. Unbelievable. Adam Angerstein fourth, Christensen fifth, Jim Humble sixth, and everybody else a lap down, starting with Charlie Dickey in seventh. Oh my goodness, I can't believe those guys. They are just wizards out here on the track, and an unbelievable effort to be able to save the fuel, to make that commitment, and to finish this race. Unreal. And you know David Hara is just absolutely stoked. It's just so, that was just awesome. That was awesome. Well done, you know. I mean, what a well done strategy by these guys. And there they all three teammates going home 1, 2, 3. Unreal. And that'll be going up on Facebook. You already know. Well, Larry Garnes feeling a little bit left out. He's just going to go on his own and do some donuts. A good feeling for the 20 of Larry Garnes. You've heard me tell his story here a few times. Very, very new to iRacing. Still a D-class driver in officials. He's been grinding out these league races with teammates David Hara and David Lerfano, and has had a good, consistent journey here at iRacing. And really overall at All-American Racing League, probably has the 2 best mentors in the league with both those Davids, and it's really paying off here as it has tonight at Talladega. Larry Garnes taking home third, David Lerfano second. But tonight, it's all about the man. The blue-gray plasticfabs.com 15 Chevrolet. David Hara is going to be in victory lane here tonight. See if we can catch up with the podium drivers. First, let's try to get a hold of Larry Garnes. Larry, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, we talked about your journey here a few times. We talked about it here tonight, being new to iRacing as a whole. latching on to Lerfano and Hera, learning from these guys, and here tonight at Talladega, towards the end of the season, putting yourselves in the best position possible, taking home 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was awesome. If it was between David and Hillbilly, yeah, it's been pretty cool. Would like to thank sponsors, Strike to Remember Lawn Care. If you need your grass cut, just come in spring, give them a call.
Hey,
But yeah,
man.
it's been a blast.
Absolutely. I wish they would cut lawn where I am because it's hard for me to find somebody consistent to come cut my grass. So um, if they
Yeah,
were
I
in the
heard that.
area,
They do a good job.
a Stripe to Remember Lawn Care sponsoring the 20 of Larry Garnes. Larry, as the season comes to an end, this is really your first full season. We still got some races, of course. This isn't the last race here tonight, but um, are you enjoying iRacing? What's the biggest thing that you look forward to about your sim rig, hopping into it, hopping online, getting into sessions?
Oh man, it's awesome. It's close to sitting down in the car as you can get, and to get in here with a group of guys. The whole league's a good group of guys, man. It's really a blast.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit cheaper than the real thing, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have quite as much in my whole rig as probably a set of heads off of one of these cars.
All right, Larry Garnes. Hey, man, congratulations on a well-deserved P3.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Next up, going to be David Lerfano. Normally, David, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you faded.
Yeah, normally we save you till last, but here tonight, that honor goes to your teammate in the 15 car. What a strategy you guys had here tonight. I wasn't sure if who was going to make it on fuel, if everybody was going to be able to take the checkered, and how it was going to play out. And the next thing I know, I start noticing all these cars coming down pit road, except for 3. The Hillbilly Motorsports guys. Talk to me a little bit about what went into the strategy here tonight. Who was the crew chief, if you will, of the group? And it's got to be just so cool. Super speedway racing, finishing in the top 3.
Oh yeah, I mean we in practice, we put in a lot of time in practice, and we knew that we're about, you could make it probably about 28, 29 laps on a tank of fuel. So when that first caution came out on lap 2, we all made the decision to come down and at least top off, and that then we knew we could make it on one stop from that point on. So that's what made the difference for sure, is making that early pit stop where we saw the rest of those guys, a bunch of them up front, stay out. So we knew they were going to be real close to making it. So that definitely helped. But great for HMS to come in here in this first race of this final round, and 1, 2, 3, and I think this is the best finish for Larry Garnes this year. So big congrats to him, and huge congrats to David Hare.
Yeah, I'm glad you talked a little bit about that, because when you guys did decide to come down, I was explaining to the viewers at home that, and some of them probably understood it, but maybe for the ones that didn't, how it doesn't seem like it was that it made sense at that time. Okay, why are they coming down lap 2, lap 3? But I explained to them that it would make a huge difference if we went green the rest of the way, which is what we did. A smart move, one that maybe other drivers need to take note on. Just a phenomenal race here tonight. David Lerfano, it took maybe a little bit longer than you guys wanted to get up front, but you got up there when it mattered the most. Congratulations on a P2.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I appreciate, Faded, everything you've done, this being your last broadcast for us. We're going to miss you, buddy, and hopefully you tune in for the rest of our races.
Oh, I'll be checking out the replay, catching it live when I can. Good luck to those guys. I would leave the floor open to you if you have any information for these guys on who's picking that up, where they can watch this next Tuesday, and for really the remainder of the season.
Yeah, so we the new broadcasting team will be Sim Racing Media, or SRM. They stream directly to YouTube. I believe it's Sim Racing Media on YouTube. They'll be picking up the race starting next Tuesday, and we'll have them at least for the remainder of this season, and looking at options down the road going into next season. So that's where they'll be able to find us as SRM.
SRM, Sim Racing Media on YouTube. Well, Lerfano, it's been a drive. It's been a ride. Appreciate you, man. Good luck moving forward and for the rest of the season.
Yes, thank you, Fade.
Next up, it's the 15 car. They call him Hillbilly. I call him Hera. It's the 15 car, David Hillbilly Hera. David, obviously, we got a huge chunk of information as far as strategy goes from Lerfano, which means you and me can just focus on how good of a feeling winning at Talladega, your second overall win here at All-American Racing League, and kicking off round 2 of the playoffs with a dub.
Yeah, man, it's pretty awesome. I love this track. I love restrictor plate racing, and I think that's why these cars have really, kind of it's fallen into my wheelhouse a little bit, even at the 2 miles and the mile and a half, because it's a lot like a lot of drafting, and that is. Let me turn this set down. That's one thing that seems to work well for me. Or I enjoy it. So I had this one circled on my calendar. Was hoping to get it done. Was a little worried about my teammates there, running behind me. But we had a strategy, kind of lay in the back and log some laps, stay out of trouble. We managed to do that, and then got up here when it counted.
Yeah, it got really close there. I could tell. And then you had Tyrone as well, maybe throwing a wrench in there. Obviously not intentional. He was trying to stay out of the way, trying to get a draft up there. But you could really tell you were down on the bottom and really just stayed patient. And I'm not sure a lot of drivers would have been able to keep that, because what you're talking about is when David Lerfano and Larry Garnes, they struggled a little bit when Tyrone got up into that draft. You had to come down to be able to maintain your speed and kind of just sit there and wait for your teammates to be able to make it past him to get back onto the high side. Was there ever a sense of panic that, oh man, this isn't going to work out, I'm going to have to switch it up?
Yeah, I mean, so when I was on the outside and I was working my way up through there on the outside of Tyrone, and then the 37, but the 37 kept jumping up the track a little bit. It was making me nervous because side drafted, I have to be so close to him. So finally, I backed off and then dropped down and went to the inside of Tyrone, which hung him on the outside. I didn't know that David and Larry were going to jump up and help me on that outside. So I did kind of hang him out there.
Well, hey, you did what you had to do. You guys had a phenomenal strategy coming in here tonight. Heck of a way to finish off the Faded TV era here. Hopefully that's not forever. It's just for now. But being able to get the blue-gray custom plastic fabrication 15 in victory lane for the second time this season.
Yeah, that's the blue-gray. That's the blue-gray plastic fabrication Faded TV 15. Got a little message for you there on the deck lid, man. Honestly, thank you for everything, man. This got us started in the broadcasting of this league. It's helped us promote this league, and helped you learn a talent that you may or may not have known that you had, man. And it's been an awesome ride, And I'm glad that the HMS guys were here to share this with you with the interviews here at the end too, man.
Yeah, it really just comes full circle, and talking about that at the top of the broadcast, and it's been an honor, it's been a pleasure, and again, hopefully, like I said, it's hopefully it's not forever, but it's been a good ride, and I appreciate you guys, and I'm glad it was David Hera taking home the checkered flag here tonight, because for all the viewers at home, this guy was the one that spent extra time when I first started getting into this, teaching me about the cameras and teaching me about the apps and teaching me about all the little things that come so natural now weren't always so natural. So congratulations on P1. good luck down the road. You got a tough schedule coming up here over the next 2 weeks. And then, of course, that final at Nashville Super Speedway. Hope to see you in there.
Yeah. Real quick, I'd like to thank Faded TV. I'd like to thank you personally. I'd like to thank Blue Gray Plastic Fabrication. I'd like to thank Top Sell Trucking, Truckers Feed America series here, and I think David may have made a mistake earlier. It is Sim Racing Media that will be doing the broadcast going forward, but it's going to be on the Esports Broadcasting Network on YouTube. That's the YouTube channel we will be using is the ESPN.
ESPN Esports Broadcasting Network on YouTube.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
All righty. Once again, congratulations on taking home the win at Talladega.
Thank you, bud.
And from me to you guys who've tuned in here every single Tuesday for the last 7 or 8 months or so, I appreciate you guys. And for the ones that made their way in this season, I appreciate you guys. It was such a good, consistent turnout from you guys. And you know, follow this league throughout its entire journey. These guys are only going to get bigger. They're only going to get better. Switching it up. They've ran tour mods. They've gone, they have a truck series here. They switched from the current gen to the next gen. So always switching it up, always keeping it fresh, always challenging themselves. And so, I'll be tuning in to the replays on YouTube's on Tuesday nights. Again, that's ESPN, Esports Broadcasting Network. Head on over to that channel. Turn on notifications. You'll be able to start watching that live next Tuesday as these guys continue to battle it out for 3 more weeks after tonight. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate you guys. And as always, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other.